Hey everybody, welcome back to the K2N Online Paddle School. We are back here on YouTube and we have another episode of the K2N vlog. This week we're exclusively talking about the Skyway Outrigger Challenge down in Fort DeSoto, St. Petersburg area here in Florida. The event is put on by Sunset Beach Outrigger Canoe Club. Sunset Beach does a wonderful job with this event. It is one of my favorite races of the year. We don't do a whole lot of long distance OC6 races, so this is one of the big marquee ones that appeared last year as their inaugural race, and they did an excellent job on the follow-up second year. They have the coolest hand glass blown prizes I have ever seen. These are one of my favorite things. I did not get the chance to win one of these in the OC6 or in the OC1 last year, and this year we went on a killing spree and were able to bring home some of that cool hardware, and I think it's going to look excellent in the background of the K2N videos here on YouTube. Keeping the talking points super short, I had one of the racers after the event come up to me and they pointed out how awesome it is to build up racers and have them participate in the OC6 events for the first time and seeing them do so well. It is very hard to take somebody out of the local Walmart, give them a paddle, and try to make them into an optimized racing machine. Especially in OC6 racing, each seat in the boat is so crucial to the team's success, right? It's very hard to have a weak link in a particular boat and think to win. And so it's a very long and difficult process in building people up to the skill level to do this. But for us, we had two racers. This was their first OC6 race ever and help us win the event. Everything just came together to make that OC6 experience a lot of fun. And it was really cool for somebody to kind of look at that from the outside looking in and kind of identify that, like, hey, that's remarkable that this person wasn't a paddler not long ago, and now we've inserted them into a boat and they have found a level of success against racers that have been doing it for a very long time. I think it's very important that we all try to strive to do this, understanding that the potential of a new paddler is incredibly high if we can invest the time and effort into them. There's only a limited pool of paddlers, right? And if we continue to draw from the same pool of paddlers, we're not growing the sport, we're just reallocating who is where. It's very important that we try to take the time to create more paddlers so this pool gets bigger, right? We want more paddlers here in this region of the United States especially, and it takes a conscious effort to try and build up these racers. So for myself especially, right, it's great to give them that feeling of success out on the water after all of the trials and tribulations of learning, and it gets very difficult, and why am I training? This gives people an outlet to kind of understand this is the end goal that you're working towards if you can get all of these ideas together and if you can be facilitated in that direction. Keeping it super brief, we're going to get right into the footage starting with the OC6 race on Saturday. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video and supporting the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not. A huge shout out to Sunset Beach for running an excellent race. We had an awesome time and we will be back next year, and we'll see you all next week for the next episode of the K2N vlog. All right, everybody, welcome to Fort DeSoto here in the St. Petersburg area in Florida. This is a nice aerial shot from my buddy Travis Stanton. He was on site. He's actually the police cruiser in the back, and I think he's standing right behind it using the drone here. But you can see all the canoes. I believe there were like 15 to 20, like 17 or 18 canoes on site all total. A lot of crews have multiple boats. They bring them in. And K2N does not own an Unlimited, but we had the opportunity to rent one from Florida Paddling Hui and Paolo down in Miami. And that's this boat right here. So we were very fortunate to get the crew, get the gang all together here. The course is Sidewind. The ocean side in the Gulf of America / Gulf of Mexico was really turbulent, right? I think it was like 3 foot 1 meter swells. And so they kept us on the inside. So we just are in this opening channel going into the Skyway Bridge. And the wind is blowing from the right at 15-ish miles per hour. It's protected by land and we're close to land, so the swells don't build up very big, but the canoe really wants to turn to the right side the whole time. So it's kind of a tricky steering opportunity for all the steersmen here. They started us really quick. We get up to the line and they're just like, and we started, right? So I had to turn on my watch and then we hit it. We have the inside line here because it's on slack tide. The buoy is straight ahead of us, and I want to get out of the wind. I want to get closer to land so the wind isn't hitting us. So the majority of the boats, the 15 other boats, are way out to the left, and so we look a little crazy being so far on the inside comparatively to the other boats that are way on the outside, but they have to deal with the wind, and ultimately they have to turn at an angle to come inside. The buoy we're turning around is dead straight ahead of where I'm at here. I could go more to the right, but now we have shallow water to contend with. So we're trying to balance this deep water as well as not getting beat up by the wind so much. So the boat is constantly turning to the right. I keep it safe. I just paddle on the left side, taking strokes. I have to do a left poke to keep the boat going straight here. And my crew just hit it, man. They really just jumped off the start line. And ultimately for this race, we jumped to the lead right here and we never relinquish it, right? And it's a real testament to everybody's, skill level and ability and being able to stay consistent the whole course. So because we're going up and back, we have 3 180 turns that we are going to go through on this course. And that's just going to keep us on the inside. So we're going one way, we're going to turn around, we're going to come right back in the opposite direction. The pink boat there is Sunset Beach. They are the host, and they are a very, very stout team. The last time we raced them was at Clearwater 2023. They won the event. K2N in the mixed category was second behind them by 40 seconds. And if you didn't notice, I remembered that. So I'm always, I have rivals in my head that I want to go back and try to beat. And so I knew that boat. They have a couple new members. They're super fast. And that mixed boat had the potential to be the fastest boat out there. And they were breathing down our necks as we started this race. 180 turn here at the first buoy, and we start making our way back. I like keeping the momentum on the turn, right? I poke and then I start paddling right, and I don't mind drifting out to the side a little bit on these turns because we have multiple miles to start straightening back out. So instead of killing the team's momentum and stopping the boat and making a pivot turn, we just kind of slide through it. This is something that I do on Lake Hernando, 6 times a week. We make a 180 turn with the OC6 around a buoy. And this is something that's very consistent. It keeps the crew fresh as well as make the turn in a timely manner. Great shot here of all of the other canoes making their way to that top turn. Like I said, there's about 15 or 16 of them all total. So these are all the front runners. And then here's some more of the canoes as we start going through. So we're making our way back. Now the boat is turning to the left, right? So now you're gonna see I'm gonna be poking on the right, posting on the left a little bit more, trying to keep the canoe straight. We have these like little micro swells that we're kind of working. They're not really big enough to surf consistently, but it gives you like a little morale boost, right? You take a couple power strokes, you get a little glide, and so going back in this direction felt a bit easier. It was the more headwind section in the opposite direction that's a little bit more demoralizing. So overall, Sunset, a super, super powerful team, and they're right there. They're trying to work those bumps. They keep catching up to us a little bit as we make our way down. And this is the next turn. So this is the second of the third turn. There's the start line with the tents and everything there. And I do the same thing. I make a nice big hard poke. I switch to the right side, start taking the the stroke and pulling the tail around a little bit as we go through here. This is tricky, making the draw strokes. I don't think a lot of steersmen are comfortable taking draw strokes on the right side, especially outside of a turn, but you just have to trust in your crew's balance and, make sure you're leaning left a little bit as you do that. Sunset is doing like a full uni, and they're really bringing the boat to a stop. So they're making the turns tighter than I am, but because they come to a stop, we're able to just kind of drift away. We had some people on land cheering us on. I had to let them know that, I still had some fight left in me. So this is back to the other turn. This is the final turn of the race, and then we go back to the start line. Same premise here. I took this one a little bit more conservative because we do have a lead here, and you don't want to take anything too risky for no return, right? There's no reason to hoolie as we go over here. And so I take it in a little bit wider away from the buoy than I typically would if we were racing, to the millisecond, and just kind of drift it around in a timely manner. And I was telling the crew here, as long as we don't hoolie, we're gonna win, right? There's the only thing that can fail in the next, 20 minutes of paddling here is going to be us swimming. And so, the tempo kind of changes, and we're just trying to hold on to the lead that we've built up here. So Sunset is approaching that turn, and we are far clear of it. And we have another section here passing some of the other boats. This is the blue boat there got third, and then the white and the red and black boat are, I think, fourth and fifth. So Hui Kai is in the blue and white boat, same club, 2 boats, and then Lukahi Cocoa Beach in the red and black. And there's a few other teams as well that are going to be a bit further back than them. But yeah, overall for us, it was really great, going out, winning an OC6 mixed event. For us, it's tough to post a gender category team We don't have the depth for 6 guys here in Hernando, you know, low population, and it's more of a ladies dominated sport, right? And we're working on putting a ladies team together, and Christina wants to steer it, and you know, putting that together is in our cards. But mixed has always been in our wheelhouse. It's always easy to get 3 guys, 3 girls, especially when I'm one of the guys. So we only need 2 guys. I told the crew to power up so we look good for the finish, but really I just wanted to stop paddling, right? So it gave me an opportunity to, you know, wave at everybody cheering for us on land. I decided to help them with a few extra strokes before we hit the finish line. But again, you know, just getting another win in the column against Sunset. We've gone back and forth a few times now. We won Clearwater in 22, they beat us in 23, and now sneaking a win over them in their home event here. And it's all, you know, it's all love, right? Like this is why we train, this is why we come out. It's to have rivals and to race other teams. And I have a feeling that they're going to come back strong next time, and I don't know if we're going to be able to hold them off. They are a very talented crew, and we're very fortunate to have them here in Florida for us to race against. And so the cards just fell in our lap this time, and that's why we race, right? Every time might be a little different. Taking the boat out of the water, I was telling Paolo, who's watching us from land, that he gave us the super fast boat this time, and I was very appreciative of it. But overall, you know, being able to rent a boat, to have all of this facilitated, to have great competitors, to have a great course, that's what it's all about. And, you know, you love to see it. And I'm very gracious to everybody for all their efforts. So now we're on day 2. We're all in the small boats, and it's a little choppy out there. It's not super wind driven. It's just a little bit like these like little rollers coming through. They're annoying for sure, but it's not something that's like super difficult. Another quick start, they just blow it, and like I never have my watch ready on both these races. And yeah, and so here we go. So we have a little bit of a bump going with us. It's almost in the opposite direction. So we're going down the same course, you know, for the start line from OC6, but instead of being a headwind, we now have a little bit of a tailwind and a little bit of bump that you can work, right? It's just these very small ones that if you time it, you can just get this really nice glide. We're pretty spread out here, which is nice, makes it a lot less chaotic than it needs to be. And I have a pretty decent start. I think everybody really gunned it chasing these bumps, and I was trying to conserve energy right off the whistle, right? I knew this was gonna be a fist fight from the beginning to the end. David Bittenbender is a super powerful racer, and I get a rematch with him at this event. Here's Christina's Vantage. This is her start sequence. She's a little bit further over to the right than I am. I'm much further out. And she's paddling hard here, working some of the bumps. We're both in a Draco. I have a new blue Draco. This gray Draco is actually sold to one of my club members, and they were very gracious to let us borrow it for this weekend, and she's gonna pick it up from me at the time of recording. I don't have this boat anymore. And so Christina's out there giving it a go. As we get to the end of the straightaway, we're actually gonna go around into the Gulf, right? So the OC6 race, we turned around at this point, and you can see there's some like little breaking waves on the side there, and I decided to take this turn as close as I can right on the line of where these swells start to break to the side to give me a little bit of an advantage. But now we're actually gonna go into the Gulf. It is much less windy than the day before, but you can see the water is turbulent. The swell size was about double, right? So with the OC6's, you know, a meter swell is enough to bounce crews, you know, into a hoolie, and nobody really wants that, right? So, but for today, it was, you know, it's choppy for people that are inexperienced at it, but with me, with an AMA, like this is just another day at the office, right? So these are not enough swells to really throw me off my game. You just imagine you're paddling in flat water. So we're on the Gulf for only a little bit, right? We're probably about a mile, 2 miles. They limited how much we were out here, I think, for the sake of most paddlers. And so I'm starting to round the turn here, and I got the whole cavalry behind me. We got surf skis and OC2s and Bittenbenders in the OC1 breathing down my neck right there. And the fast surf skis are ahead of me at this point, right? So I'm kind of leading the charge of all the single blades and some of the other surf skis. And just starting to come back, and you can see some of the other racers making their way up to that metal tower for us to turn around. You can start to see the swell. Like, again, if you're familiar with the ocean, this is nothing. And if you are not, then this is like enough to really, you know, get you off of your game, right? It's really enough to tighten you up and strike fear into you, which limits your movement. Christina approaching, and one of the nice things with the new blue boat is, man, the high visibility on that is pretty good. It's not as good as the green and yellow Pro Model Dracos, but blue, it's pretty nice, right? You can see it from pretty far away. So there's me coming around, and then she's making her way up to the tower. I would use more of her footage, but it's a little blurry with that camera. Yep, so coming by the pier, and then this is me spotting Christina there as she goes by, and just dealing with the chop. So on the next turn, as we make our way back towards the start line, it is a headwind, right? And I am becoming aware that, you know, the fun is about to end for me. Being a lighter paddler, having a flat water boat, going into the headwind is going to absolutely suck. And I don't really care about my speed or my time. I want to try and finish in front of David, right? Like, I know he's gonna catch up to me and I'm gonna have to deal with him. And sure enough, we're in the upwind for a half mile and he's all systems go, man. He friggin' hits it and he starts passing me like I'm not moving. And so the tactics start to change. I want to finish ahead of him. So in order for me to have a chance at this, I have to stay with him. And staying with him is drafting him, right? So instead of staying over here and working myself to death, it's easy to just let him pull ahead, ease up a little bit, and start to go behind him. I don't know if in this chop that I can draft him, right? I don't know if the swells are gonna move me around, but very fortunately, there's enough wake there that I am able to recuperate a little bit, stay with him, and allow him to pull me upwind. If we were to race 50 feet apart from each other, he would absolutely kill me in this upwind stretch. I would have almost no chance in being able to keep up. And so this is an equalizer where I'm able to draft him, use his strength to my advantage, and then, you know, put us in position for a showdown at the finish line. Christina's GoPro dies before the finish, but she's fighting for third place. So right here, she is starting to pass the pink Aries, which is Dion. And once she passes Dion here, she is now in third place. Dion is in fourth place. So Christina's able to make the podium. She's able to hold off Dion all the way to the finish line, right? So as she passes her here, the positions do not change again. And so really tight racing. The first two ladies ahead of Christina are all both superstars. And I think all the ladies that finished the course on OC1 are all, you know, very stout. I think there's 5 or 6 total for the ladies, 20 for the men. So with this course, we're gonna turn around and the course is gonna change because we're gonna have a tailwind and bump leading to the finish line. So I know right here, the tables are gonna turn into my advantage where I'm gonna get more benefit from the situation that we're about to turn into. I go wide to the right, that way I can go left onto the inside because I do want the inside line as I'm going into the finish line. It is shallow to the right side, which I wasn't thinking about until after the race. Because there's a point where we both start to run into that shallow water. So I make this turn here and I start to power up. I catch some bumps and I'm like, man, this is it. Like, I pulled ahead and I just feel so good and I think it's over. I think I'm gonna catch these swells, I'm gonna pull ahead and there's no chance. Like, I'm just gonna, you know, create this giant lead and that's the end of it. And I was wrong, man. So right here, I let my guard down a little bit and I think it's over. Like, I'm gonna win, I just gotta cruise into the finish line. It's less than a half mile. And David's right there, man. He hits some power strokes, he catches a couple swells, he jumps in front of me and I'm like, man, do I have enough in the tank to finish this? Like, I really don't know if I, you know, have the horsepower. I don't know if the conditions are big enough for me to, you know, capitalize on and try to win those. So he makes a huge effort here and we trade positions again, and I'm not sure I'm able to overcome that. And so this is where racing, you never know what's gonna happen, right? So we're not familiar with these waters back and forth, but right in this section here, we hit incredibly shallow water and he's on the right side closer to land of me, so he's in even more shallow water than I am. I'm very fortunate to be on the outside because my water is a little bit deeper here. And as I take my strokes, you can see I'm starting to pull ahead and the only thing that has changed is the water depth. And so as I start to pull ahead, he makes the adjustment to try and go behind me to my left side to try to get into the deeper water. But we're running out of time here, right? Here's the shallowest. You can see the water depth color change and you can see how much he drops off just in that little moment there. He cuts to the other side, and now he's starting to paddle in, but it's over because the race is only a few more strokes and there's just not enough time for him to catch back up to me. So just like with Sunset Beach kicking my butt last year, David, the last time we raced at Suncoast Paddle Challenge, he kicked my butt. And so it's been on my radar that I'd love a rematch and, you know, try to put the pieces together. And what a thrilling race, right? Like that's what it's all about. Win or lose. If he had passed me at the end, I would have been so happy, you know, going back and forth and having such a tactical match. And so super great. He's about 3 or 4 seconds behind me there. And that's what it's all about. Here's another really close finish between my friends Reed and Flavio. Their race finish a lot more dramatic than mine was. And that is it. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. If there's anything you'd like to add on, or if you'd like to leave a comment, feel free to. And we'll see you all next week for the next episode of the K2N vlog.